Welcome everyone to my 8th episode of Signs, Planets, and Stellar Rhythms. I'm here to bring you the latest in astrological information about what's upcoming, and especially over the next few weeks into later into August. There is a lot happening in the world. There is so much going on. It's almost impossible to contain it all into these episodes, and so I may end up doing a little more frequent episodes in the future, or simply some sidebars that I might do focused on one particular subject. Like recently I focused on Mars and Aries. And speaking of that, I'm actually going to be doing a Mars and Aries webinar with Daniel Giamario, a special one that's much longer format through shamanicastrology.com. That's on August 17th. So I'm excited about doing another installment of our work in Mars, about Mars, specifically in shamanic astrology. And that'll be part of actually this episode, what I'm going to be sharing about today. All the things that are going on in the world. It's good to get a perspective, take a breath, and kind of look at a broader picture of where we are as humanity, and not just specifically in this short-term environment that we find ourselves in. And it's, certainly can be in some cases increasingly difficult, but in others it definitely is a cauldron of co-creation, that there is some amazing things that are being developed, people that I'm meeting, connecting with, being cultivated right now on this planet. So I'll be diving into, today though, diving into these happenings in the stars above as it relates to Earth here and our lives. Yes, this 8th episode, I'm excited to bring you. We're going to be going through various upcoming aspects especially around what Mars is doing in the sky. It's becoming brighter, more visible to us here, especially if we stay up late at night, but even more so by the end of August. It's, for most people, you won't have to stay up that late to see it. And you really get a good impression if you are able to do that, or get up really early in the morning. You can see the Mars square these, especially the two visible planets, Saturn and Jupiter, which are really prominent in the month of August. So the highlights, as I just mentioned, the Mars square of Saturn and Jupiter, as well as Pluto, and the conjunction of Eris. Now, Pluto and Eris are not visible in the night sky, but they provide important symbolic, archetypal transmissions, if you will, or insights into our current time. I'm also going to go into Venus in Cancer. That is playing a significant role this month, especially towards the end of August. And then Sirius in the morning sky. I'm going to be sharing about that, a little dive into that. And I just want to make some commentary. I don't have some slides on Neowise, but I want to make some commentary. I may show you a photograph of that towards the end of that, of this episode, as that certainly was something I actually saw with my eyes, and I took some photos of it in mid-July. So let's dive into this, shall we? All right. We just want to sit and be grateful for the gift of life, for creation itself, for being here on this planet to bear witness to this amazing and obviously some tragic and incredible transformation that's occurring right now. Humanity's going through growing pains, and I am just overly grateful for being able to be here, to draw breath, and to continue on in this journey. And to what degree it's going to arrive at, we don't know. But I'm grateful to creation, to Great Spirit, to my guides, to all the directions and archetypes and the elements. Thank you. You're invited in and to bear witness to this and be part of this co-creative effort by humanity. So I am definitely part of the cosmic creation, as are all of you. And we all have relationships with the stars and the planets, and of course, Gaia, Mother Earth herself. All right, here's some flashpoints for August upcoming. We've got Mars squaring 3 planets, Jupiter on August 4th, Pluto on August 13th, and Saturn on August 24th. And then we have Venus entering the sign of Cancer, and on August 7th. This is the first new sign it's going into since April. It's been that long since it's been in Gemini and finally moving into the sign of Cancer. Mars will also have a conjunction with Aries, the dwarf planet Aries, on August 17th. This is something I discussed in the last episode a bit. And all of these squares and this conjunction with Mars, it'll happen 3 times, beginning this month, upcoming month in August, and all the way through towards and ends in January of 2021. Sirius is doing a heliacal rise in August, and that greatly depends upon your location of Earth. This is really a very powerful star in our consciousness, and that affects us in a wide variety of ways from cultures throughout the world that have looked to this particular star. We also have a Mercury conjunction with the Sun on August 17th, and we have Uranus stationing retrograde on August 15th. So we've got quite a lot going on right now, or upcoming. Yes, so let's go into some of these more in depth. Upcoming on August 4th, this is really interesting. We have Mars and Jupiter in a square, and there are going to be 3 exact ones in a 6-month span. On that same day, the planet Mercury, the innermost planet of the solar system, is moving into the sign of Leo after being in the sign of Cancer for 3 months. So this is, for Mercury, it's definitely a connection to our intuitive senses, through creation, through radical radiant self-love, through the process of being part of creation itself. This is not from a place of the mind or of intellectual expression, but more of simply knowing and being part of that radiance itself and expressing. So this could be very interesting in how things become maybe more visible, and that there is perhaps some creative voices that come through during this time that are heard more and more. So Mercury zips through the sign of Leo until it enters Virgo on the 19th. So it's really just very, very quickly. Then we have, of course, going back to the whole Mars and Jupiter square. This is Jupiter acts as an expansive agent to all that it connects, and Mars is a symbolic, pulse-like abrupt switch activating the archetypal alchemy. Mars is in Aries, Jupiter in Capricorn, so this can be both a struggle of will and a clear sense of direction and cooperation to accomplish what is needed in this world. So it isn't just about the insanity of this or the intensity. That's certainly part of it, but it could provide some additional clarity and tension to, as a square does, create tension to create something, to make something manifest. And August 4th is the exact date, but I would say a week before and a week after, in that range would be that in the crosshairs and in the area of that space, because that's just the one moment in time where there's an exact square. But the effects of it, the influence of this goes well beyond just that one moment or one day. And we're seeing that this is really the building of part 2 of this 2020 year. July was kind of an in-between zone, and we're now really moving into this strong part 2 and a greater emphasis on what has happened, but to enter in a new stage. And the seeds are being planted for the rest of this year and really for many years to come. So we're really in this. In part, there's a struggle because we're resisting the change in some degree, but we're also realizing that there's new stuff coming up, and we're here to help embrace that, or at least look at it closely and discover what needs to transform, what needs to compost, and what needs to perhaps be visible, and be able to go, okay, we can no longer bury our stuff, bury our shit under the carpet or under the ground. This is the time for all of that to be visible. All right, so what does a square actually look like? So especially for those of you that are new to astrology, and we astrologers mentioned the word square, look at this alignment here. We have in the late evening sky, early mornings. Well, actually, yeah, this would be early morning. So Mars would be towards the south, depending on where they are on the planet. But for most people, they're going to look at it, it's going to be closer to the southern area of the sky and looking up. Mars is very bright, red-orange brightness. And Eris, not visible, is all in that space. You can see Chiron, which Mars went into conjunction with back in July 14th. And this here, all this, this is just after a full moon, actually. You can see the moon still looks full in this picture. So Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are all right in here. So here's Jupiter, that's the first square. So you can see this L shape, about a 90-degree, well, when it gets exact, it's 90 degrees, but there is certainly a longer, a wider orb, if you will, buffer from the exact point by several days on each end. And then when it goes in, it'll start to move into a square with Pluto, and then it will go into a square with Saturn as it moves deeper and deeper into, Mars moves deeper and deeper into the sign of Aries. And we can also see Mars in this actually in this fish constellation, not the goat fish. That's where the 3 planets that are in Capricorn are heading toward, and will be there by the end of this year and into 2021. So yes, the fish constellation has you know, it's one of the symbols of that watery area of the sky, and where we can see the water bearer dropping the droplets of the cosmic knowledge into this area. There's this whale constellation right in here. There's the southern fish, and so the goat fish, which half fish, half goat, which, you know, I could spend many minutes talking about that particular constellation. But here, this is connecting to the knot of the 2 fish, tying it together to the water and up into the cosmic space. And so there is a certain sense of the heart around emotions, around empathy, around that coming into a sense of greater consciousness into the world and up into the higher stratosphere. So maybe this alignment here, maybe this will help Aries be able to see a broader picture, to be able to evolve beyond the you know, the connection to black and white, and what that represents. So here's this is a list I shared in the last episode and even the episode before, but I keep coming up with it because I want to keep reminding everyone of the importance of these hard aspects or dynamic aspects of Mars in Aries and what it's doing. That began really with the Chiron conjunction on July 14th and goes where August and September and October and all the way through until mid-January, or end of January, really, with the last Jupiter square, January 22nd. So as I go through these episodes, there's going to be more and more that I'm going to share about this as we learn more about these aspects and what they're bringing in. So Eris, we also want to invite into this arena. I do believe that this can be a powerful time here for the feminine and for women in general as well, but for the feminine to have a stronger voice, to come back up, not to necessarily reassert what was long ago, many thousands of years, a matriarchal kind of society, but more of something that comes into more of a balance. But I feel we're going to be going through phases of this where there's still this disruption between the masculine and feminine, and the recalibration of what that relationship is. And Eris could be very helpful in providing a strong voice, sovereignty, and a sense of cleverness of being able to seize what it needs to seize in these coming months. So let's go into what we can do to participate. This is sharing. I'm something I've talked about before. Again, to reinforce, really showing up for your life during these times. That this is a crossroads of all humanity, for us as well, individuals, but for all humanity. That it's not just this 1 year, but it's part of a very long period of time, and that and the turning of the ages period. With the way that the sky moves across the sky, across the signs, if you will, the different constellations, what we call the precession of the equinox. We're in that turning of the ages moment right now. That's going to go on through all the way until I believe it's 2034 is that end, sort of that 72-year window. But this critical time between now and 2025, really, this is really that really both challenging and could also be certainly a bed for amazing creative breakthroughs and insights into consciousness and to who we are as human beings. So I see both happening, and the shadow is going to show up strongly, but all these other things that will assist us as long as we tune into who we really are. Who are we as human beings, our authentic selves? Put it all on the table, don't fight our path, and having a certain faith in our decisions. And when I say our decisions, are bigger decisions about not thinking too much about it, but tuning into what really matters for us in a heartfelt, soulful way. And again, just continuing to come on. Everything about our civilization has reached a crossroads point. This is something I'm going to talk about as we continue to dive into this space here. So what has been happening with the continuous social injustice? I live just outside of Portland, Oregon, and we're seeing that this is grabbing headlines due to the federal officers that are there in downtown Portland, and they're just in this really tiny area of Portland, just a few blocks, protecting the federal courthouse. But what they're doing is, in my view, it is said that they're doing something that is protecting the courthouse, but they're doing something that goes beyond protecting, and this is where there's a battle, and why the state of Oregon, why the city of Portland has been outraged, and why really a lot of people around the world and the United States have been outraged about what these officers are doing and what they've been told to do. And I think that there is a certain image thing with the White House administration right now. And so, but as of this recording, I apparently they've reached some kind of a deal, that the state of Oregon and the city of Portland have reached a deal with the Trump administration. So we'll see how that develops. But what I fear is certainly where the local authorities are getting that are not that there's no cooperation, that there is more antagonistic energy. But if we continue to have dialogue, this is where resolution can come in, and where we can actually, create change through that dialogue, through peaceful means, rather than just tearing down something, violently. But it is a crossroads point. Let's talk about Venus entering the sign of Cancer, August 7th. After 4 months of being in the sign of Gemini, Venus ingresses into that sign. Cancer is about compassionate, empathic, and it desires to help a seed reach its maturity or potential. It's a nurturing provider of safe space, of home and family. So there is a certain evolution to this, where we're seeing this also globally, that we are this one tribe, this one family. And perhaps this Venusian transit will be another step in that direction of helping us being able to recognize that more fully in humanity. It's on the same polarity as the sign of Capricorn in the zodiac, and Aries is also square, as I've shared earlier, to Capricorn and to Cancer. So Venus is going to be playing an important role when it aspects these other planets at the end of August. So I'm sharing a screen here and showing you how this works. Aries. So Venus is another entry into this powerful alignment that's taking place here in the world with the way these planets are aligned. I do believe that Cancer can, with the tension between Aries and Capricorn, that can result at times. Maybe with Cancer's entry, or Venus in Cancer's entry here, this maybe help open up the heart space more, help open up compassion, empathy, and say, hey, maybe we can provide a safe space for all people, not just our clan or just our single family, but goes beyond into the community and beyond. So there is a certain sort of a higher state of what Cancer can bring in through Venus's appearance here, and through the feminine in particular, with this being Venus. Here are the dates for the Venus dynamic aspects or hard aspects. Venus opposite Jupiter, August 25th. Venus opposite Pluto, August 30th. Venus squaring Eris, August 31st. Venus in opposition to Saturn, September 4th. And then on the same day, Venus squares Mars. So that particular day, of course, I'll have another video before that, but that particular day is quite interesting to see. Just 1 month after Mars squares Jupiter, is you have this specific thing happening around the 27 to 28 degree range of Cancer, Capricorn, and Aries. So something to be staying tuned for. We have, that's only about 2 months from the U.S. general election. So we could be looking at definitely some changes occurring, some, greater clues as to what we need to do to move forward, and to say, hey, this is what we want. And we want to continue that dialogue and not come from a place of just only reaction, but from a place of some thought and some intuitive sense of direction. Star Sirius. So this is a star I wrote about before, and I will once in a while come into sharing, especially this time of year, where Sirius is now going to be visible in the morning sky coming up, especially in early August. Anywhere from August 4th to August 24th, roughly in that range, depending on your latitude. Where I am, about 45 degrees north latitude, it's going to be around August 15th, 16th when Sirius will be visible. At 40 degrees north latitude, say in the Northern California area, it will be visible on August 11th and 12th. And there's if you go to skyandtelescope.org and go to that link there, you can pause it and type that in. You can learn a little bit more about what Sirius, some of the mythology around it. It was known as Sopdet thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt, and it played a powerful role in Egyptian culture, especially around the flooding, the seasonal flooding of the Nile River. It represented the goddess Hathor or Isis as well, depending on the area of Egypt that you were in. The Heliacal rising of Sirius was associated with a particular festival that meant the going forth of Sopdet, so that would be Sirius. There was also a connection of the star Sirius to the mythic bird Phoenix, where the original legend took place. This is really a powerful story, and anybody, certainly in the book, Sirius, the Brightest Diamond of the Night Sky, is a book that shares about that story and the different calendrical cycles that are present, and how the 14. All right, so yes, coming into Sirius and its connection to the star Phoenix, or not the star Phoenix, but the mythological story of the Phoenix. This is it's a really powerful tale, and I definitely recommend you, anybody listening to this, watching this, would look into that more for yourselves as well. Anybody who's got, in fact, I'm going to show you here, some of what Sirius is about. Sirius sits at currently at 14 degrees 21 minutes Cancer. It sits at a place called the solar antipex, and this is a place where the solar system is moving away from. The star Vega, or that constellation Lyra, currently is where the solar system is moving toward, or where the sun's direction, which includes, carrying the planets with it. So, and both of these, stars kind of, essentially they're kind of opposite. Obviously, Vega sits at 15.5 Capricorn, Cancer for the star Sirius at 1421. So we can see that if you've got any personal points around that, for me, for example, I have Capricorn rising just about a degree away from the star Vega. Doesn't mean Vega was sitting on the ecliptic. Vega is a polar star, and it's part of the circumpolar stars that, in this particular case, was a North Star in 13,000 years ago, and will be again roughly a North Star in 13,000 years in the future. So this is just part of the situation with how the Earth's different movements, and how Sirius is, over time, Sirius is going to kind of fade off after many thousands, tens of thousands of years, and actually it's probably going to go hundreds of thousands of years before it really fully disappears. But that doesn't mean it's gone. Just going to dim a little bit before getting a little bit brighter and then dim. There's a whole thing I was writing about or researching around this. It's Sirius just has such a huge impact in our consciousness. And what it means, especially when we look at the Egyptian culture. And we can see in their wheel, their circular zodiac wheel, this comes from the book, The Sirius Brightest Diamond in the Night Sky by Jay Holberg. There's an image in here where it shows Sopdet Hathor right here in the form of the cow. And then up here, Lyra, which was a bird up here. It was also known in other mythology as the falling vulture. And we can see they're kind of opposite each other. One's more towards the south, the other one's closer in the north up here. So this is for Sirius to rise, this is what it's bringing in after over a month hidden away in the glare of the sun. It's now going to be able to be seen through the naked eye coming up here in early. Just a little something on Comet Neowise. It was named after the observatory that spotted it, and Neowise means new wisdom coming from the sky. This particular comet came through, was visible beginning really to the naked eye, really about just after maybe July 9th or 10th. And then it's like in the evening sky, especially around the mid part of the month, 13th, 14th. I spotted it on the 14th. So it was a visitor that came through. New wisdom. It's showing us, perhaps certainly in the northern hemisphere, for those that were farther south, closer to the equator, or farther south than really 30 degrees, there wasn't much of an opportunity to see it. It did get close by to the Earth, at least cosmically, from a cosmic perspective, around to July 22nd and 23rd, but it became dimmer as it sped away from the Earth. And it's got a 6,800-year orbit, and it takes it to the outer Oort cloud before coming back in here. So what we have here is a visitor that was here. The last time it was here was around 4800 BC, and that was the time when we had, just before a lot of the resurgence of writing came into humanity. Greater developments in agriculture and architecture. And, depending on one's measurement of when the pyramids came in, they weren't even built yet. Of course, for some researchers, they've actually looked at it was built prior to that. Some even temples were built, but humanity was definitely going through change. It was during that time when it was between the age of the twins and the age of the bull, Actually, it was 4800 BC. Yeah, somewhere in that space, where matriarchal culture was still going on strong. Matrilineal for many cultures around the globe was still very strong at that time. It's a very different world at that time, and now it's coming in at the crosshairs of this incredible stellar alignment with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, and all the alignments that I've talked about earlier in this video and in prior videos. So pretty rare, remarkable. It's the brightest comet that has come in the northern hemisphere anyway, since Comet Hale-Bopp in 1997. There was another comet that came the year before, and just it was had a Japanese name. I'm not going to try to pronounce that one, but that was also visible, and that was the last time that I saw comets in the sky, was during that time. So welcome the cosmic visitor that's come in and is now more officially kind of disappeared. Although if you have a really good telescoping camera or a telescope, even maybe some high power binoculars, you should be able to still see it through, I guess, over the next several days, and then it will finally disappear. But it was pretty amazing, and I just wanted to comment on this at the end of this video to share with everyone. So thank you all. I just want to connect here and just say, hey, this is in my own practice. I've been I do readings, I do teachings. I'm going to be gathering, do meetup groups, gather them together where I'm going to be living in the future, but I'm also managing director of SAMS, and there's great online courses that take place on shamanicastrology.org. Daniel Giamario and Kaylin. I also have some videos there as well. I contribute, but this is a really powerful teachings. And certainly contact me with any questions, or if you wanted a reading, I'm available at inspiralnexus.com, and my email address is listed right here at inspiralnexus@gmail.com. And this is all based on Daniel Giamario's shamanic astrology paradigm. But there's so much more even beyond that that is continuing to be uncovered, and I will share more and more as things develop. But I thank you all for being here, for being part of this, and I wish you well out in the world, and take care of yourselves. And I'm just in gratefulness. Thank you.